Thank you, Zoom. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday, January 20th meeting of the Park and Rec Commission. The meeting is starting here at 6:03 p.m. And we're going to go ahead and start with a roll call vote. Becky, if you could do it, the roll call, please.
Commissioner Cabrales.
Here.
Chair Emerson.
Here.
Commissioner Gutierrez.
Here.
Commissioner Lauman. I do not see her here yet. Okay. Commissioner Machado. He is absent. Commissioner Reisinger. She is also absent. And Commissioner Sandoval.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, do we need to, Becky, do you still need to explain public comment? I'm assuming, even though I don't know if there's any public, just for the record.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. I think after each one, and we do have someone in the audience today, so I'll go ahead and explain how the public can participate. Good evening, everyone. Viewers are welcome to provide public comment online through Zoom or by telephone at 669-900-9128. And the meeting ID is 833-4004-9460. If you are watching this meeting through Zoom, please select the participants button and select raise hand if you wish to speak. If you are participating by telephone and wish to speak, please press *9. When it is your turn to speak, you will be notified by the host inviting you to participate. You will need to press *6 to unmute yourself. Once you are unmuted, you will have 3 minutes to provide your comments.
Thank you. So I'm assuming everybody got the agenda and had a chance to look it over. Is there any changes to the agenda from staff or from anyone else?
There are no amendments.
No amendments? Okay, so the first item is to approve our November minutes. Everyone wants to take a look at the minutes. Any comments from commissioners? Any public comment? Hi, Stacy.
I do not see any raised hands at this time.
Okay, I don't see the raised hands then. You do? How does that work?
I'm not sure if you can see, do you have the side view of the participants and the attendees?
I mean, I see that there's April Miller, but it looks like is that the public or is that someone from staff?
No, that's staff.
Okay, so I can't see the public, but hi, public. Okay, so we would need can someone make a motion and a second to approve the minutes, the November minutes?
I'll move to approve.
I can
I'll
move
second.
a second. Okay, roll call vote. Do I call the vote? No, Becky, you call to approve the minutes?
Yes. Commissioner Cabrales.
Yes.
Chair Emerson.
Yes.
Commissioner Gutierrez.
Yes.
Commissioner Lauman.
Yes.
And Commissioner Sandoval.
Yes.
All right, and it's approved.
Great. Okay, so the next item is public comment. So we do have a member of our public here. So if there's something that you wanted to bring up, please do so at this time. Anything that they wanted to comment on?
So I do recognize our attendee. So Sparky, if you'd like to come and introduce yourself or say something, that would be great. Oh, she's raising her hand.
Sparky. Hi, Sparky.
So hi, Cicely. Cicely and I work together, and hi, Susan and everyone else. I'm representing the San Rafael Age Friendly Community Partnership, and have worked with Susan on a variety of issues, and so I'm sort of sitting in on these commission meetings to keep abreast of what's going on as we work to achieve our goals in the age-friendly world. And that's it.
Welcome.
Thank you for attending, Sparky. We
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Okay, so our next item is the 2021 Annual Youth Enrichment Program Review. So I
So
will,
I'd like to introduce Jason Fong is a program coordinator and he oversees the after school enrichment program and the summer camp program. His office is in childcare. I'm assuming all the young participants have been picked up, but just in case you might hear somebody in the background. So Jason, why don't you go ahead and start?
All right, thank you for the introduction. Yeah, again, my name is Jason Fong. I've been a program coordinator in the recreation department since 2016. I took over the youth enrichment, like all the after school enrichment programs, summer camps in 2018. So I'll share my screen. Bear with me. This is the first time that I'm doing this. All right, can everybody see my screen? Perfect. All right, so this is basically a recap of the 2021 Youth Enrichment Program. Next.
I lost him.
Oh, he froze.
You froze, yeah.
I wasn't sure if he froze or something was wrong. Jason, if you can hear us, you can go ahead and take yourself off screen and I can share, and maybe that'll be helpful.
I assume they can't see me, so I'm.
Yeah, we can hear you, Sparky, though.
Hi.
Hi, so if you could mute yourself, that would be great.
All right.
Great. Okay, so Jason took himself off screen, so I'm going to share the document because I'm hoping he's on the other end of this. And if so, let's see. Let's see.
Hi, Chair and Susan. Jason just gave me a quick call. His computer froze.
Okay,
So he's going to restart and log back on Zoom. And I let him know that you were pulling up the PowerPoint, so he doesn't need to pull that up. I think that's what's glitching out his computer. Excuse me, his
Okay.
computer.
So go ahead and for me to share.
Yes, let me turn his off,
Okay.
and you should be able to share yours now.
I think that was me. So
Oh.
here, I'll do it again. There we
I
go.
didn't realize you took over. There we go. So he should be back on shortly.
Hopefully he'll be able to log back in, or he can run over here and we can move this.
He logged on pretty quick last time again once he froze up. So
Okay,
Oh, there he is. Okay, Jason, see if you can stay off camera while you talk, because
Okay.
that might help you.
yeah, let's do that. I apologize, everyone.
It happens.
All right, let's see here.
So I will, just let me know when you want me to forward the slides.
All right, forward slide, please, Susan.
You got it. Okay. Why is it? Oh my goodness. There we go. Okay.
All right. So a little background. I had to meet with my former supervisor, Rochelle, last week to try to gather up details. But what we gathered was the youth enrichment program started providing after-school enrichment classes in 1995. From 1995 to 2000, we were offered classes at 6 school sites. Actually, we started off offering it at Glenwood and Lucas Valley, very small offerings, 1 or 2 programs every season. From 2000 to 2008, staff increased enrichment class programming to Sun Valley, Coleman, Mary Silvera, and Vallecito elementary schools. And we increased a lot. We had multiple, I think at that point we had 20 plus instructors that we were working with. In 2008, Davidson Middle School reached out to staff to see if we would take over their after-school sports programs. We're using the same model that we were using at the 6 other schools. It was a huge success. We had hundreds of students participating in programs such as volleyball, basketball, tennis, flag football, and even some cross country. And then from 2010 to 2016, the Youth Enrichment Program expanded exponentially. That's when I came on board. So, the supervisor at the time had another body to actually make their rounds to all 7 schools. And
I think we lost him again.
Yep.
Okay, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna stop sharing, and Becky, I don't know if you can text him or I can and ask him to come over here. We'll go ahead with the next item and we'll come back to this, okay?
Sounds good. I'll go ahead and get a hold of him.
Okay, thank you, Becky.
Mhm.
All right, so Chair, we're ready for the next item. April's actually really excited by default. She gets to be moved up, I think, so.
Okay. Yeah, so now we'll go on, move to agenda item number 4, which is the parks maintenance status report for October through December of 2021.
And again, I'd like to introduce April Miller. She's the Assistant Director of Public Works Extraordinaire, and she will be presenting park projects update as well as the park maintenance update.
Yeah, and I was going to share my screen, so we'll see how this goes. Okay, you should be able to see my screen. Yes, no, okay. So I'm just going to go over the maintenance projects that were included in the staff report, or I guess the agenda package. So there's a few things that happened in the last quarter. So there's been a vandalism problem out at Freitas Park. And so whenever our maintenance team gets notified, we go out there and paint over the graffiti, but it seems to be a constant issue. So it's just whenever we see it's there, or if we get notified. So I guess as long as we keep getting notified, hopefully it doesn't stay up too long. But it is an issue that we've been dealing with. And then we've purchased a new piece of equipment to help us with our field maintenance, both at Albert Park and Pickleweed. This new piece of equipment helps aerate and level the turf. So that's a new fun addition to our maintenance team. And some more work that we did is we fixed some of the netting out there at Albert Park and some of the fencing around Albert Park. And we also got to use another one of our new pieces of equipment, which is a bucket truck. So now we don't have to rent one of those. And that's it as far as maintenance, if we want to take questions and then go into the next one.
Do we have any comments or questions from the commissioners for April on the parks report?
I actually had a quick question. Since the drought kind of it's still going, but do we know if there's any like significant damage that's been done, like a bunch of dead trees or things that won't come back that we're worried about?
I haven't heard of that. I know we've received an exemption so that we could water the lawns more often, so that we could keep and maintain those, but I have not heard of any trees that didn't survive.
Great.
Any other comments on the park status report?
If there aren't any comments, we still need a motion and a second to accept the report. And then we can move forward we'll move forward with her second report.
Yeah, do we want public comment? Is there any public comment on the report before we do the motion?
Thank you, Chair. Becky, can you read the,
Yeah, if you are watching this meeting through Zoom, please select the participants button and select raise hand if you wish to speak. If you are participating by telephone and wish to speak, please press star 9. When it is your turn to speak, you will be notified by the host inviting you to participate. You will need to press star 6 to unmute yourself. Once you're unmuted, you will have 3 minutes to provide your comments. And I do not see any raised hands in the audience.
Thank you. So could we get a motion and a second to accept this report?
I motion to accept the report.
I can second that.
So Becky, if you could do a roll call, please.
Yeah. Commissioner Cabrales,
Yes.
Chair Emerson,
Yes.
Commissioner Gutierrez.
Yeah.
Commissioner Lauman
Yes.
and Commissioner Sandoval.
Yes.
All right, motion approved.
All right. So I want to ask the staff, should we move on to the work plan, or should we move back to the youth enrichment report?
I would suggest going forward with the park project status report.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to the next park project status report, not the maintenance, but the project status report for the fall. And go ahead and take it away, April. Thank you.
Okay, so now we're going into the projects. So just give a little update on the Shoreline Park restroom. We're still trying to get utilities out to this restroom out here by the bridge. We did get a little bit of headway. We found out we had to get an address associated with the restroom in order to get PG&E to bring electrical. So now we have an address. So we're moving forward with that. There's a little bit of a delay because PG&E is actually undergrounding their overhead lines along Francisco East right there. And that's because the Bay Area Toll Authority is going to come in and do a widened bike path sidewalk through this area. And so they need to underground all the lines. So PG&E is just trying to figure out timing, whether or not they want to do an overhead service to our restroom and then turn around and underground everything. So we're just working with them to get make sure we have power to the restroom, but we're still waiting for sewer and water, but we're optimistic that that will happen soon. Another update, we received the Prop 68 per capita grant for the Sun Valley Park renovation. So that means that we're going to start moving forward with that project. And the first thing we're going to do is outreach. And that's going to start sometime in the spring. And we want to get the design going so that we don't miss the construction window to start construction in the fall once the playground use slows down a little bit. So that's our goal for that project. And then the Albert Park, there's a lot of things going on out there. So we have a few different separate projects. So one of the projects is the netting project, where we're installing additional 40-foot tall fencing. So we actually went out to bid twice on that project. And unfortunately, the first time we received no bidders, and the second time we received bids that were twice as expensive as our budget. So right now we're going back to the designer and, we're kind of doing some more homework on what's existing out there to try to figure out an alternate solution to install fencing that so we can afford it. So since the sports teams have started playing again, we're not going to install the fencing until September. So we're hoping to work out an alternate design and be able to be ready to go on that in the fall also. The other projects that are going on out there is that we've already purchased a prefabricated restroom. They're currently building it. And so right now they're building it and they're supposed to deliver it sometime in March. So we have another project out to bid that receive bids next week, and that project preps the site. So the site will be ready to go so that when the prefabricated restroom arrives, all they have to do is plop it down, and then our contractor can connect the utilities. So that we're hoping that's going to all happen in March is our anticipated time to have the restroom hooked up. And then as part of this project that's bidding next week, there's an ADA ramp that goes, you can see it in this photo where the stairs are. There's going to be an accessible ramp that comes down from the stairs so people can access the stadium. And so that's gonna be part of the project. We're not sure on the lead time of it because it's gonna be an aluminum ramp. So that will be installed as soon as we receive the ramp. So there might be this area might be blocked off for a little bit just during construction as they install the aluminum ramp. And then we have started the Park and Rec master plan process. So in November, City Council approved the consultant contract for RHAA, who we selected to do the Park and Rec master plan. And so we've done a few initial kickoff meetings, and there'll be lots of outreach and lots of meetings coming up. So that process is starting soon. The community meetings aren't going to happen until March and April. They're the first couple ones, but the steering committee is going to get going soon. And yeah, that's it on that one. There's no new proposed projects. Actually, there's one new proposed project out at Falkirk. During regular maintenance, our crews discovered that there was an issue with the veranda deck, and we decided that we need to close it off immediately so that there was no longer use of the deck until we repaired it. So we're working with a contractor to repair it during the off wedding season. So we're going to be doing that. And then as an alternate, our maintenance staff actually found a way to put up lighting out on the wedding lawn so that we could still maintain our the events that were scheduled during the fall, so that there was a spot that people could gather and have dinner out on the wedding lawn. So there are lights out there now. So it's another amenity that we can offer out at Falkirk. And that's it for now.
Thank you, April. So commissioners, are there any comments? I see Stacy has her hand raised. Any questions? Stacy, did you have a question for April comment?
Yeah, mine is really simple. And I was looking at the Albert Park list of items, and I don't even understand what is netting. It's not fencing, so it's netting that's being hung to protect the stands.
Yes, like foul balls or home runs. So there's some, the netting is higher, so it's kind of flexible so that when a ball hits it, it kind of comes back. And so there is some netting out there, but it's not completely around the field. So we're just putting it in a few more locations, so it's complete. So
Okay.
it protects the road, the stands.
Okay, so it's addition to the fencing. Okay, thank you. I know that there have been balls that have gone and hit vehicles and things. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Any public comment?
All right, looks like they're pulled through Zoom, so I'm going to just go to that one. If you're watching this meeting through Zoom, please select the participants button and select raised hand if you wish to speak at this time. And I do not see any raised hands, Chair.
Thank you. All right, can we get a motion or a second to accept this report?
I can motion to accept this report.
Second.
All right, thank you. All right, roll call. Commissioner Cabrales,
Yes.
Chair Emerson,
Yes.
Commissioner Gutierrez,
Yes.
Commissioner Lauman,
Aye.
and Commissioner Sandoval.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed.
Okay, so would the chair like us to go back to the first item?
Sure. We're going to go back on our agenda to item 4, the Youth Enrichment Program presentation from Jason.
Actually, I believe it's item 3, just for the minutes, just.
Oh, item 3, yes. Sorry.
That's fine. All right, Jason, you ready?
All right, I'm ready. Yes, I moved offices and hopefully this computer's working.
Okay, you want me to go ahead and share my screen?
Yes, please. And I think I left off on slide 3.
All right. Let's see. Let me do a couple things here. Let me share. And okay, we were just moving to the next slide.
Yes, please.
Okay. Oh, hang on. There we go.
All right. So currently, we are still offering classes in the San Rafael and Miller Creek School District at the 6 school sites as previously mentioned: Coleman, Glenwood, Lucas Valley, Vallecito, Mary Silvera, and Sun Valley. The city, I'm still working with 23 contract class instructors. This season that we're going to begin next week, that runs from January 24th through June 2nd. We're currently serving 326 children in 52 after-school enrichment classes spread across the 6 school sites. Our revenue is looking really good at 174,000, and our current expenditures are only totaling 113,000. Next slide, please. The pandemic definitely destroyed the youth enrichment program. We shut down classes, all of our classes, on March 16th, 2020. I spent many weeks refunding lots and lots of families, but everybody was very understanding of the situation. We started back up again in fall 2021 after multiple talks with the school districts and superintendents. The biggest fear was cross cohorting. So we decided that with additional cleaning and monitoring of students, they would allow us back on campuses, which was really good. In summer of 2021, since majority of our community centers were closed down and our facilities weren't being utilized, I got the go-ahead from Susan and Catherine to offer camps, more camps at those facilities. So in 2021, we offered 20 summer camps. In enrollment, we were only allowed to have 14 kids per camp. And luckily, majority of them filled up, and there were no positive cases that came out of that summer in any of our summer camp programming. Those camps included cooking, Spanish, design your own dream house, which is really cool, is like doll houses, like, you know, good sized doll houses, STEM and Minecraft, theater programs with the kids wearing their masks. We have dance, soccer, glass fusing, and Art Wonder and Marin Youth Television, which was a new camp that I brought on, and they did a really cool podcast and YouTube channel. We had I think we had 11 campers, all that like 5th grade to middle school level, which was really cool to expand to that age group. As well as our traditional kindergarten camps were offered at Glenwood and Sun Valley, which are great programs to introduce kindergartners to the school campuses, to the school staff, so they get basically a leg up for that first week before school starts. And then our summer camp revenue totaled a little over $69,000, and our expenditures totaled $42,000. So we were still, you know, at that cost recovery, which was good. Next slide, please. I tried to do a comparison to kind of see where we were at in fiscal year 18 to 19, you know, with the additional staff. Currently, it's just me running all these enrichment programs and summer camps and the theater program. So if you take a look at the top numbers, were very, very large, compared to, our COVID in 2021, where we were only bringing in, $5,000 to $10,000 in those second and third quarter, and our expenditures because of my salary and, overhead costs of renting facility space, was kind of a challenge. But as you can see in fiscal year, the current fiscal year right now, the first quarter and second quarter, I was able to generate more revenue and continue to keep the expenditures down. Next slide, please. So in conclusion, the City of Santa Fe Youth Enrichment Program has supported thousands of Santa Fe families over the 27-year-old program by providing an assortment of educational and entertaining after-school classes, summer camps, and other various opportunities to engage with youth in our community. Special partnerships with contract instructors and our good relationship with the Santa Fe school districts has allowed the enrichment program to flourish and to this day benefiting everyone involved. And looking ahead, staff, I intend to increase class and camp offerings, continue to develop further participation opportunities for low socioeconomic level students and families, and ensure that the program operates at 100% cost recovery. And I'm committed to providing exceptional customer service and ensure families in our community have opportunities to discover, create, and find their recreational passions into the future. Thank you for your time, and sorry for all the glitchiness.
No, thank you for the presentation. I think I'm sure things will get built up over time as
Yes.
as things build up over time.
Yes.
Imagine the childcare census is still pretty low as well.
Yes.
So are there comments from the commissioners? Susan, do you want me to call on every commissioner, or is it okay for me to just free form and ask if people have any comments or questions?
That's absolutely fine. Absolutely.
I just wanted to say thank you. I know you guys are doing a lot with a little. Thank you.
I
I
echo
have
that.
a-
Thank you for being so flexible through this time and trying to make it work.
Thank you.
Yeah. I have a quick question about the classes. How do you get feedback from the participants about, what they liked about it, didn't like? How does that happen?
Majority of the time I get feedback through email or emails being sent to the recreation at City of Santa Fe email, like our bulk one. We'll also get phone calls, and so administrative staff will forward those to me. At this time, we haven't done any outreach, no surveys or anything to our customers, but that's a really good idea to get those comments and questions kind of out there to advertise to our constituents.
Yeah, or just I was thinking to get an idea of what programming people are interested in.
That too.
You never know who knows the person that knows the Zumba teacher that would be perfect for these kids. It's
Completely. Yeah. Yeah. On our website, we do have an option or a little on our page on our website that says, if you want to teach a class, contact Jason, because I'm always looking for more instructors. But that's really good feedback. Thank you.
Stacy.
I do have a question about middle school programming, and I've been a customer of the cities for a long time at the elementary school level, but now I'm sort of in the middle school level, and I've noticed in the current course offerings, there are some programs for middle school, but I think a few of them are online, and then a lot of them are at Terra Linda. And I was just curious about bringing middle school programming closer to Davidson Middle School so that kids after school could have an after school activity through the city.
Definitely. Yeah. The new supervisor of the Santa Fe Community Center, Damien, and I, and the program coordinator here at Patty, we've been in talks to expand the program and try to capture more of the Davidson kids coming over here. When we were running that program at Davidson, we were charging fees. And the PTO or PTA, I can't remember what they are over there, and school administrative staff were like, the equity isn't there. So we've got a lot of students that want to participate in those activities, but they can't afford it. And so that's why they kind of took that program back. And, we've tried to offer a theater program there. And again, we were kind of in that similar situation. So we pulled back, but we're hoping that we can offer more programming here at the community center, and hopefully the kids over at Davidson can walk over and participate after school.
Thank you. That would be great.
That sounds good. Any comments from the public on this agenda item before we move to the vote or motion to accept and vote?
Yes, so if you are watching this meeting through Zoom, please select the participants button and select raise hand if you wish to speak. And I do have a raised hand here from Sparky. So go ahead, Sparky, whenever you're ready.
I think it's fabulous what you're doing with the kids, and I know it's much appreciated in the community. And I just hope that you, and I know that you do have many programs for older adults in the Park and Recreation, and that you can, keep that on the top of your list as well, because there are probably more older adults than there are young people, children in San Rafael, and we need recreation as well. So thank you for your consideration of that.
Thanks, Sparky. All right, so can we get a motion and a second to accept this report, receive the report?
I'll move to receive the report.
Second.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Cabrales,
Yes.
Chair Emerson,
Yes.
Commissioner Gutierrez,
Yes.
Commissioner Lauman,
I like the, this mustard, and I need a nap.
sorry about that, Commissioner Sandoval.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Motion approved.
Thank you, Jason. Okay, so now our next item, and I believe, item number 6 is our review of the Park and Recreation Commission's annual work plan for 2022.
All right, I know we have Catherine on, but it's,
Oh, no, our next agenda item is a baby. Oh.
hang on 1 second. We have to.
Just thought we'd say hello.
Oh my God, she's so cute.
Before bedtime.
Aw.
Although she's not on your work plan, she was on Catherine's work plan for 2021 fiscal year. So she's already
Right.
achieved her goal. So
Sorry to steal your thunder, Susan. I'm gonna go give her to her dad.
How old is she now? She's so
She's,
cute.
4 months tomorrow.
Oh my goodness, what a sweetie.
I love that I did not know that you were pregnant until like you were out, because we haven't seen your body in 2 years.
Yeah, I know. It's just the face up. So.
She's ready to join the commission. She's
Yep, yep.
she's you're training her young.
She's all
for
for the
public
youth
service.
it is going to be kind of magic. It is going to be kind of magical. The last time you saw Catherine, honestly, she'll look exactly the same. And you're right. All of a sudden there's this baby. So, all right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start. As you all know, I'm retiring and I will not be here throughout the rest of this calendar year. So I'm introducing this item, but we do want Catherine to come back on screen eventually, because we will be talking about the work plan. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. You do this on an annual basis. You started last year to review it and make suggestions or recommendations on items. And we try to balance that with the staffing resources that we have and also timing of things. Sometimes there is, for example, you might want an aquatics report. It would not be the perfect time to bring that in summer. So we try to work with our staff to make sure that there's a right time to bring it after something's completed. And there's kind of like a benchmark. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And then we can take a look at what we've pre-plotted for you to review. Obviously, you have a copy of it, and then you can make suggestions or recommendations. So I'm going to go ahead. Let's see if I can find it. I just had it. There it is. All right. Can everybody see that okay? Oops, you know what? I still have my other one. Hang on. I don't know why I've got that one. Let me stop that. Let me close that. Make sure.
Sorry, we're looking at attachment 1 of item 6, correct?
Right, item 6 is the annual work plan. So I'm going to go ahead and share it. I had to close, sorry, I still had Jason's PowerPoint open. So I'm going to go ahead and share this. Everybody see it? Nope, I guess you can't. There.
I can see it, Susan.
Okay. It's disappearing on my screen again. So, okay. So hopefully everybody can see it well. There we go. All right. So we're just going to kind of review a little bit of this. So in January, the meeting today, obviously you had your youth enrichment program, and we are going over the Park and Rec Commission work plan, as well as the quarterly status reports for both park projects and park maintenance. As the name suggests, that's quarterly, so you're going to see it every 4 months, and you'll see it, mentioned, or excuse me, every 3 months. So you will see it mentioned again. February is a report from our new recreation supervisor, Damien, and Damien will be providing you with an overview of San Rafael Community Center programs, Albert Park Field, the tennis and the tennis courts. We will also be coming to you like we do normally on an annual basis to get your feedback on the nomination for the Community Service Award for the California Park and Recreation Society District 1 that we belong to. In March, we have the annual Marin Bocce Federation annual report. The reason why it's done in March, they have just closed out their fiscal year. So they have obviously their fiscal report, and they're just about to embark on their season. So it's a really nice time for them to present. We'll also be bringing to you the Sun Valley Park, kind of the prohibited activities that we talked about before. Really, we're only bringing back the gazebo on whether or not the commission wants to support keeping the gazebo in place at Sun Valley or having it removed. We will be inviting that neighborhood and the public to participate, to provide feedback before the meeting as well as during the meeting, so the commission can obviously receive that and make recommendations as to which direction they'd like staff to take. In April, we have our Pickleweed Advisory Board annual report, as well as the Albert Laurel Community Center and Pickleweed Park Field and Program report. It's a lot. The park maintenance projects will also be reporting at that time for the quarterly report. And then May is Falkirk Cultural Center program report and the Marin Master Gardeners presentation. You haven't received that in recent years, but it is supervised by the same individual who supervises the Falkirk Cultural Center, and it is their main area is on the grounds of the Falkirk Cultural Center. So we thought that was a nice integration of both programs. In June, we will provide you with an informational presentation on the movies in the park, and we will be having our first Park and Rec Master Plan update at that time, and that's when the consultants will come to the Park and Rec Commission and report out on the steering committee activities, the community meetings that have taken place, and also the survey results will have come and gone by then. So that will be a very robust meeting. In July, so far, we only have one item. So depending on if there are other suggestions that you make or not, we can adjust that. Usually in August, you go dark, and last year, the commission decided to go dark this year in August and December like it has in years past. That always can be amended. But that so far, we're trying to hold those months for you so you can have some downtime. And then again, in September, we will be bringing you something new. The San Rafael Girls Softball annual presentation. They haven't done that in the past. But this last year, we worked with them to develop an agreement for use of one of the ball fields, Bernard Hoffman. They have been doing that forever, but it was never put on paper, so to speak. So it has now been approved, and as part of that agreement, it requires them to provide the commission with an annual presentation. At that time, we will have our second update on the Park and Recreation Master Plan. And then in October, we will have our quarterly parks report again. We will have the child care program report like we did last fall when Kelly presented that to you. And we'll also have the youth enrichment program report at that time. This was originally when it was scheduled for last year. But because of scheduling and some challenges that we had due to COVID, we moved the youth enrichment program obviously to tonight. So you'll get to have the benefit of seeing Jason twice in 1 year. So, and then in November, you will get an update on the community gardens, which is really important since we made all those changes recently. You'll get a full year under the belt of how it's going, and staff will be able to provide you with program stats as far as participants, how many people we got off the waiting list, any of the issues that have been raised and addressed as far as improvements, and answer any questions that you may have. They will also provide you with a report on the Terra Linda Community Center as well as the aquatics program like they do on an annual basis. And of course, that's our big November meeting where we select our chair, vice chair, our committee assignments if there are any, and then we review your meeting schedule. So I just reviewed what we tentatively have here. I would say that there's a couple of things that we really don't like to move around because of when they occur. But the park maintenance quarterly reports happen when they happen. And also the selection of the chair, vice chair, and the meeting schedule is at the end of the year. That could always go to December if you chose to have a December meeting. But again, we'd hate to bring you back December just for 2 items, and then, you know, it's pretty simple to do. So Chair, at this time, we are, both Catherine and I are available to answer any questions or provide feedback. And if you look at the very bottom, we put some other items there as well as future topics. Actually, before you ask and invite the other commissioners to comment, I think it's really important that we share a couple things with you. Measure A, Marin County's Measure A, how we get all of our park money to make improvements, is going to be up for, I'm not sure, being renewed, right? So it's going to be on the ballot this summer for the county residents to vote on. If it passes, then we are back into a wonderful cycle of receiving annual allotment of money that can be used for program enhancement and obviously park development and improvements. However, we normally bring that to you in springtime. It's not going to happen in spring because they are not going to take it to the ballot until June. So we won't know what our allocation is until after that fact. So we can't really ask you how you would like to spend it. But there's also a secondary bonus. Because we are going through the Park and Recreation Master Plan process this year, the end result of that plan is going to identify any type of deficiencies that we might have as far as park amenities, improvements, facilities, and make recommendations and prioritize those with your help and your feedback and the communities as to what the city should really pay its focus on and attention to in the short term and in the long term. So having that information at the same time, hopefully we get great news from the county that Measure A has passed and we're back on receiving annual allocations. Both of those things should nicely come together sometime in fall, where you can make recommendations saying, hey, this is great. We have this giant to-do list now, and we've already had this robust conversation and gotten community feedback, and now we have a funding mechanism. So then it'll be really fun for you guys to take a look at that list and going, okay, what do we want to address off the menu? So I just wanted to bring that up, and that's why it's not there in May, and it usually is. And then the per capita grant, we did receive funding, as April mentioned for the Sun Valley Playground renovation and ADA improvement project. But there will be points in that process where we bring back community feedback and recommendations. And then we will want the commission to review those and the staff will be making some obviously recommendations, but we'll want your feedback and ultimately your approval as to moving ahead on the selection of playground equipment and things like that. So we're not putting that in a specific month yet because we haven't done the RFP to hire the architect, and that process hasn't begun. So we're not quite sure when that's going to line up, bringing it back to you. But my guess is it's probably going to happen. Oh my goodness, probably late spring, early summer, because the goal would be to install any type of equipment after children go back to school in September, and they won't need that equipment in the park as much as they will in summer. So, okay, I'm gonna breathe now and let you guys ask any questions that you have and provide us with some feedback. Chair?
All right, commissioners, now that you see this beautiful outline of all the reports that we expect and get every year, any comments, any questions, any additions that you would like to see in looking at this work plan?
I have a question.
Yes.
So for the master plan updates, are we expecting presentations from the team, or is it going to be someone within our department reporting to the commission?
It will be both, most likely. RHAA will be required to provide you with a presentation. We're paying for that. But staff will also be able to answer any questions and provide additional information if it's so needed. And then, of course, you will be participating. You have representatives on that steering committee. So you'll also be able to say, yes, that's exactly what we heard. You know, you'll be able to chime in and support what that presentation is obviously providing to the commission.
I did also just want to add that it's not on this work plan, but there is planned a joint study session with the Park and Rec Commission and the City Council as the kind of the third Park and Rec Master Plan update. And I'm now blanking. Susan, do you remember what that is? It's in November or December.
It's tentatively scheduled for Monday, December 5th. And I've already spoken to the city manager. He thinks it's a wonderful idea. So it's a little bit of a different format for the city. What that study session would be a joint study session and be noticed as such of the Park and Rec Commission and the City Council. And it would happen prior to the City Council meeting on December 5th. So normally they meet at 7. My guess is we'd probably start at 5:30. The community would be invited, steering committee would be invited, but the two bodies would really be hearing the full presentation on the whole thing is now ended. Here's the final work product. Let's review it and get final feedback. So before it is published, they can go back and refine any little detail that needs it. So that date could move. It could end up being January or February. You know, these timelines, as you know, with projects, sometimes they get drawn out a little bit, but our schedule is such that we tentatively have it on December 5th.
Thank you. It looks like Stacy also has a comment.
Thank you. I have a question about open space and where does that fall currently in terms of what department in the city is looking after the open space in the city? And then also, does that fall within the Park and Recreation Commission's purview when we're looking at things like park maintenance or updates on access?
Right. So the open space that the city has, any type of work orders or any concerns about the open space would be addressed through DPW. And basically the surveillance of it, if there's concerns about fire or it needs law enforcement support, those departments would be brought in. It's under the purview of the commission in regards to acquisition, trail development, and things like that. It is also, as we mentioned earlier, and this is a while ago, we also mentioned that as one of the byproducts of the Park and Recreation Master Plan, the bike ped plan will be updated upon the end of this plan. And also a trails master plan will be developed. And the trails master plan obviously is our urban trails, as well as they, obviously go into open space.
Thank you. I'm really happy to hear about that inclusion with the master plan, because my question was about how do we encourage more people to use trails and connect them with parks and implement access.
We will get some basic input, and that will be included in the Park and Recreation Master Plan, but strong trail identification and development will occur when the city initiates the Trail Master Plan development process. It currently doesn't have one. So
is the trail master plan part of the park master plan, or it's a separate thing?
it will be a separate thing. There's two reasons for that. The city has a bike ped plan. So currently right now you have a bike and pedestrian plan that is due for an update. Some cities combine it with trails because you can imagine there are trails that are class 1s, 2s, and 3s, and therefore some can be used by pedestrians and bikes. And there is a huge connectivity between those two plans. So as Public Works updates the bike ped plan, they will also be kicking off with your support the Trails Master Plan. So I'm sure there will be representation from the Park and Rec Commission that is requested from DPW, almost like the same steering committee type of format, to help with that plan development in that process. But that won't happen until this concludes and this is completely approved.
May I make one more comment, please? And that's, I really appreciate how this is laid out and we can sort of see what's coming up and also the breadth of work that the team is working on. So I appreciate that. One thing that I think would be helpful for the commission is if you all at the city could articulate, you know, what is most useful in terms of input from the commission and how can we provide meaningful input? Often these reports are sort of conclusive, but if there are places where you really desire some like collaborative thinking or input early on, I think that would be really welcome.
Absolutely. I think you had a really a good taste of it with the community gardens. We came to you because that was a program that really needed, quite frankly, an overhaul, right? And so we not only brought it to you, we hit a giant break, so to speak, and invited not only your participation in hearing that feedback, but also brought you all along all the way through the process to shape what that program looks like. So I do imagine the Park and Recreation Master Plan, we talk a lot about park development, park acquisition, trails, all of that, but 50% of this plan talks about programs and what and it identifies the gaps and it identifies what we don't have enough of. So it might say, you know, hey, what's with the teen programs? Or, you know, you don't really have youth sports, or you need more older adult programs. So there's going to be a lot of information that is gathered through the community, both on a basic survey. It is going to be asset community workshops, intercept events, as well as the statistically valid survey. So all that information is going to come back. The steering committee is going to receive and review that information. And based on what they're hearing, there will be recommendations. And as that starts to form, remember, that's coming to the commission at benchmarks. So you are going to be very much involved with this next year of the collection of information about programs as well as facilities, the recommendations and what people want from the community, and you're going to get to weigh in on that. So for example, let's say, I'm trying to think of something, let's say the biggest thing that came out of the plan, and I'm just going to make this up, is a fitness facility and more fitness programs. Well, that's all well and good, and that would be the recommendation. Where the rubber hits the road eventually is if that is one of the recommendations and the commission approves it and the council approves it and it's on the top of that list, we're going to come to you and say, hey, this is what a fitness program looks like based on what we've heard. These are some options that we could do. We would gather your feedback on that and help to develop that program, if that makes sense. So I'm getting way
Yes.
ahead of myself, but that's kind of how it would work.
Great, thank you for that.
Sure.
So it sounds to me like for the parks, for the master plan, there's going to be quite a bit of data collection in terms of both quantitative and qualitative and surveys that we'll be able to review.
Yeah, it's pretty big. If you came into my office or you were on the review of the proposals, just the proposals themselves were huge. And they also provided examples, which were huge, but I've got a couple of them in my office and I'm not joking, they're over 300 pages. So, and that's the final version of them. So yes, there's a lot of data and the consultants make it so it is supportive of the recommendations, but it's also informative. And when somebody picks it up, it makes sense. It's easy to digest.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right. Commissioners, any other comments? I think the work plan looks good. I think myself as a chair and having been on this commission for a while now, I would like to see when Catherine and you and Susan give your report, if you could relate on topics of interest that are coming from the other, the other commissions that are not exactly our lane. I think it would be helpful for us to sort of see what those opportunities are as they relate to recreation. So as the different committees are going through different, different plans, like just like you did the pedestrian safety plan, just so that we're aware and that we can just kind of have a better pulse on what's going on in the city without attending all of the meetings and reviewing all of the agendas.
Yeah, we would be glad to do that. Quite frankly, in the past, I don't think the departments nor the teams worked as collaboratively as they have for the last few years. April has been amazing, and so has her director, Bill. And so we're becoming much more aware of when they're working on projects like the bike ped plan. And we provided input as we want a trails plan, and they said, absolutely, we'll take that on. So just the fact that we know these things are happening, we can obviously share it with you, but we didn't even know in prior years, everybody was in their silos. So working together the way we have been, we're much more aware and abreast of that. One other thing I wanted to share with you that's not on here, and I don't know if our participants are still hanging in there, but the Golden Heirs isn't listed here. The individual that oversees that program, we will be asking them to provide you with an annual report and presentation on the Golden Heirs. They just came back into the facility last September, so we don't have a whole lot of months of after COVID, so to speak. So we want to have enough time and let you know how they're doing, because during COVID, it got really difficult for them. They did not come in the building. They had no activities, and it got really close to them not continuing on as an organization. So we'd like to bring back an update on how their organization is doing, how their program participation is doing, and what the community can look forward to. Please know that we do have representation. Sparky is from Age Friendly. We do have representation that is representing older adults on the steering committee for the Park and Recreation Master Plan.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments from commissioners? Any public comment?
All right, I do have a raised hand. And again, if you are watching through Zoom, please select the participants button and select raise hand if you wish to speak. And it looks like we have Sparky there. So Sparky, you can go ahead.
Thank you. And thank you, Susan, for mentioning the Golden Heirs. And I was looking at the agenda for your group, and I was hoping that you would welcome the opportunity for the age-friendly committee to perhaps come before you once a year and tell you what we are up to as you begin to, for instance, as you begin to do improvements in the playgrounds and in the parks. We have an interest in providing the equipment for older adults who can exercise in the parks. There is such equipment available. And I know we're represented on the master plan. Thank you, Susan. But we'd love to come and present our goals. We have a whole strategic plan, which is on the city website under age friendly, and parks and open space, or open space and community buildings, is a part of our responsibility and a domain that we're very interested in. And we would like to get a lot more older people in our wonderful parks. And that then there's opportunities that I think we haven't really explored together. And I hope that we can do that in the future. Thank you.
So, Chair, that is absolutely easy for us to do and add. We can, if the commission would like us to pursue that, we will work with Sparky and the rest of the age-friendly committee to find a time on the calendar that works best for them.
Yes, I mean, I think we would welcome the age-friendly group to come and give a report on what they're doing. And yes, more people in the parks. Sounds awesome. Okay. So thank you for the public comment. And I think we just have one more item on the agenda, which is, or do we have more?
If we could just have a motion.
Oh, a vote. Yes, yes, please. Can we have a motion and a second to accept this work plan?
I'll move to accept the work plan.
A second?
I second.
All right.
All right, thank you. Roll call, Commissioner Cabrales,
Yes.
Chair Emerson,
Yes.
Commissioner Gutierrez,
Yes.
Commissioner Lauman,
Yes.
and Commissioner Sandoval.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Motion approved.
Thank you, Chair. All right.
All right, so the next item is any reports and anything of interest from the commissioners that they want to report on.
I'm just letting you know that the next few months, you will never be silent again because you're going to get so involved. There will be plenty of time for you to provide feedback, and actually we'll encourage you. Otherwise, staff will just be a broken record and jumping in and giving updates about the master plan. So that will be very exciting.
Actually, I would say to the other commissioners that if you get a chance to find a master plan of a city that has been done, that it's really fascinating to kind of get an expectation of what they're going to make for the city of San Rafael. And then it kind of gives you a framework to better understand what they'll be presenting. I think, at least I found that when I was sort of doing the research on it.
I think that's a great idea, and it might be helpful. I know all of you remember that we're on that review committee, but Catherine, I think that RHAA worked on and just completed the one in Santa Cruz, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So that would be the first city I would take a look at because they just completed that. So that really reflects kind of current styles of master plans. But you could go to their city's website and you could just hit search a parks and recreation master plan and it should pop up. If you have difficulty finding it, I have no problem getting it and sending you the link. But I don't want to send the document because it won't go anywhere because it's massive. So we just want to send you the link so you can go to the website and see it.
Santa Cruz and I believe El Cerrito is the other one they did recently.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments from the commissioners? All right. I think our last item of the agenda is upcoming events of interest. I don't know that we have anything in our agenda packet besides the meeting schedule on this topic. I don't know if anybody has anything to report from staff on upcoming events they want to share.
Yeah, we might have a couple of comments. I'm going to let Catherine start if she has anything she wants to share with the commission at this time.
I don't. I'm still just kind of getting back in and getting caught up myself. So Susan, I'm gonna let you take the lead on this one this time.
Not a problem. So I just want to frame a couple of things for you. Catherine has been working the last 2 weeks part-time. I know it's hard for her to leave her baby, but it was hard for her to leave me, for me. It's really selfish. I can't be happier. I'm so glad she's back. And we're kind of like ships passing in the night. So in about 10 days, I'm going to go out for surgery on my ankle. Although I broke it, they didn't realize that I needed some surgery to repair some ligaments in my ankle during the time. So guess what? I get to go into phase 2. But I will be out in the beginning of February, and depending on my ability to drive, because it is my right foot, either I will be back here or be working from home until I am able to drive safely for everyone's sake. But I just wanted to let you know what's going on. As you know, Catherine is going to be the next director. So we are currently in the recruitment process for the assistant director position. That recruitment closes on January 26th, so it's almost here. Based on that, the applications, we will have a short list presented to the city from the consultants, and then we will have interviews in February. We will have the first and second day in February. Excuse me, not February 1st and 2nd, but like in the middle of February, there will be 2 days where we have a panel interview, and then Catherine and I and the other assistant director, Henry Bankhead from the library, will interview him. And then ultimately the city manager and the assistant city manager will make the final selection. So at that time, depending on whether we have an external candidate or internal candidate, that will really determine when that transition happens and when I leave and when Catherine gets to wear the crown and move forward. So my guess is it's going to be somewhere between the end of March and the end of May. So I will keep you posted as we start to go through that process. But obviously, we're working really hard to make sure this transition is smooth because we have so many projects in the queue. Also, the other update I'd like to share with you is the city did apply for 2 Prop 68 grants. I know you're aware of that. We did 2 Prop 68 PPS grant, SPP grant. I always flip it. SPP grant. That was the big application for the renovation of the athletic field to artificial turf over at Pickleweed Park and expansion. So a lot of other amenities were going to be added. Unfortunately, we did not receive that grant. That was an $8 million ask. And we have received feedback as to why we didn't get it. Honestly, we put our best foot forward. Actually, we put all of our feet forward trying to make the best application we could. But the highest priority went to those cities that did not even have parkland in underserved communities. That was number 1. And then number 2 was if you had the land, the highest priority was then those cities needed to make a park. We already have an existing park. It actually is very large in that area. So we did not rise to that level that was awarded. However, we got our sure thing. We got the Prop 68 per capita grant. So we just got the contract back from the state saying, let's go. And that's why we mentioned the Sun Valley project, because that's going to be moving ahead this year. So very exciting. But that's all the update I have for all of you tonight. But the next meeting, Catherine will be at the helm. I might be able to join, but I think we're going to switch roles. So I might be off camera a little bit, but I will try to make that meeting so I can make sure to be provided as a resource to all of you. So thank you.
Thank you. So one thing I had put in the chat that I did want to report on the beach park and just the future of that. I know it looks like you might have discussed it in the last meeting, but maybe that's something we could touch on at the next meeting. I don't want to, it wasn't on the agenda, so I didn't want to.
Yeah, I can give you some update on that. So Terrapin Crossroads made the decision not to operate the restaurant anymore. And they were interested, along with a lot of other people that let the city know that they were interested in just operating the park as a concert venue. What was the challenge in that type of proposal was the original agreement was because the city and Terrapin came up with a shared use agreement that the public benefited by. So the public benefit here, besides the concerts, which were wonderful, the public access was that Terrapin Crossroads, by virtue of being able to have access to that beach park to provide concerts, they also provided supervision of that park when they were open, access to restrooms, and access to parking. Without having the ability to utilize that restaurant as an anchor point, there's no way to provide staffing on site while the park is open every day, rain or shine, provide bathrooms on site, and to provide parking. Now, you can bring in porta potties, but there's no adjacent parking that belongs to that park, and there's nowhere to put staff to sit out there from sunup to sundown to provide that type of supervision. So it was really a challenge, and unfortunately, Terrapin made the decision not to renew their contract with the property manager for the restaurant. And right now the park is closed, and DPW has gone in there and removed some of the items that cannot just sit out in the open. And the city right now is contemplating what it's going to do with Beach Park as it moves forward. So when we get some direction as to what the council would like to do, most likely you're going to be involved. So that's where we're at. There's really no actionable item right now, but that is what happened. And since then, you can imagine all the concert promoters that have also contacted us saying, well, if they're leaving, we'd like to run concerts there as well. And Beach Park, the original intent of Beach Park is not just to be a concert venue, but to obviously open it up and have public access to it as well in a controlled setting. So we're very sad to see them go, quite frankly. It's we did everything we could to entice them to stay. And if there was a way that they could have operated that park and supervised that park without the restaurant, we sure would have liked to have done that. But unfortunately, we couldn't get there. So. And that's it.
Thanks for the update, Susan.
Sure, of course.
Be great if we could get some nonprofit Friends of the Beach Park to come and, operate it like China Camp. Get a community movement going. But
we need like a little office in there, obviously.
Yeah.
We need some kind of like kiosk or something like that obviously would provide protection from the elements and enough amenities that people aren't just stuck out there with no access to restrooms or something like that. But
well, and I guess you also, I'm getting really afield here, but you also wonder if it could be a revenue thing if people wanted to rent out, to have their concerts there, given there's upcoming promoters here in Marin. But yeah, thanks for the report.
Absolutely. One thing I just want to provide this. The challenge of using that site for concerts once in a blue moon is not an issue, because obviously we work with a promoter to identify where parking could be, shuttles and stuff, but there is no adjacent parking that can support that type of programming at that park unless that restaurant parking lot is used. So on an ongoing basis, it becomes a little bit of a challenge and a huge impact to the adjacent properties. But once in a while, it could absolutely happen and, shuttle people in from one of the school districts, parking lots or one of ours or something like that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
welcome.
that. All right, so I think bearing nothing more on the agenda, I think we'll adjourn and we will see you all next month. Thank you. Happy New Year. Sparky, I wish I could have seen you on camera, but it was nice to see you. Your name there anyway. And we'll see you guys next month.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye.
Staff.